First 2 coats of yellow paint. Black painted. I think it matches what's on the box there pretty well. Hello again, everyone. Welcome back to another plastic model build. 1970 Plymouth Roadrunner. Chrysler made around 40,000 of these 70 Roadrunners in various configurations, 2-door, convertible. This model comes with a 440 engine. Some of the information on the model. They had several exterior colors. The one on this box is called Yellow Gloss. We'll build it, kind of match the box. And we see it is molded in white. So that makes it a lot easier to paint. Some of the details, what it should look like. We'll try to replicate that as best we can. So let's open it up. Body, front and rear glass, and headlights. The tires, just black walls, both sides. A little bit of chrome, not a whole lot. All the other parts that need to be painted. This does have interior door panels. So there's a frame and decals. And instructions. And like most kits, this does have a paint guide. A through K in that second column. So when you're painting parts, you look up that part and it'll have a letter by it. Like A or G is the engine block. A is the transmission. G would be orange gloss. A would be aluminum metallic. So that's how that works. So it just has push-on wheels, front and back. It does have the separate front cradle with the torsion bars, and of course the rear end with the springs and the exhaust. The interior of this is really detailed with these door panels. So we look at the picture on the box, looks like the interior is black. I see one thing I like about these instructions. Many of you have probably run into the same issue. When I'm building a model, I find a part that I don't understand where it goes, but it'll have a number by it on the parts tree. And I was looking at these and I thought, well, what are 3 and 8? And it's an air scoop. 3 is an open air, 8's the closed air. So I like that about these instructions. You can look up a part number and it'll tell you what that part is. One thing I have noticed, very little slag on these parts. Yeah, they need to be cleaned up a little on the edges, but very little. Same thing for the frame. I don't see any. Molded really well. Separating all the parts that will be painted yellow. And of course the body, the hood, the rear tail light panel. The radiator support will be yellow. Now the radiator is black, but We'll paint it after we paint the yellow. And the frame. This frame is the same as the body color underneath. And then you touch up where the frame rails are and the supports. There's a picture of it. And this tail light panel, we can go ahead and glue it in and just paint it with the body. Tail light panel glued in place. Been painting some parts here on the parts tree with a brush, of course. And we have the exhaust, the rear end, several parts on this tree, and the back of the wheels. That's a gray metallic. I used the tester's paint on that. Here's a closer look at those parts that I've been painting. There's our dash pad. Some semi-gloss on top there for the pad. The rest of it is the flat. This is a front seat. You'll notice the cushion part looks kind of weathered and the gray, light gray maybe, or faded black. And then I painted the perimeter with 2 coats of the semi-gloss black. So I think that'll make the seats stand out a little better, doing it that way. Door panel's painted. I still need to paint the door handle, the window handle. Engine will be orange. Haven't got around to that yet. I have painted the transmission. And finally, we painted black around the spokes of the wheels. That matches the picture on the box. And this front grille, it's black. Painted all of this, but all I have to do is go back and clean off the Plymouth letters. So we're making progress. A little more painting to do here on the rear seat to detail it a little better. All right, finished painting the parts with the brush. And other than maybe a little touch up once we go to assemble everything, those should be good to go. Our engine's Chrysler orange, and this breather, the top of it is orange. The chrome around the edge remains, so those will be done with a brush, the motor and the air cleaner. And that leaves our body, the frame, radiator support. I have the hood on. We'll take it off when we paint. And I did put in that rear panel, so it'll all be painted in one piece. There's a paint we're going to use. That's called Sun Yellow. So we need to take these to the sink, wash them off good with soapy water, and we'll paint those. Two coats of yellow on the underside and 2 coats on the top side. We'll end up putting a lot more than that. We're finished with the paint. The only trouble with this yellow, that's 6 coats of paint. This takes a lot to cover when you're spraying yellow. We're shining good on the body especially. Underneath the frame, I didn't put as many coats because I'm not really concerned about it shining that well. So we're ready to detail it. And Radiator, we need to paint it black, detail it. Now I'm going to see if I can detail this frame like it's pictured here on the box. Looks like they've just painted the frame pieces black. All of this, and then the braces going all the way back to the gas tank. Semi-gloss black on the frame rails and supports. Using this brush with the pointed tip. Try not to get black over on where it doesn't belong. And so far, so good. I think it matches what's on the box there pretty well. And radiator is painted. And I'll paint the cap of the radiator the same as the gas tank, the aluminum. Now I'll assemble the tires and wheels. And before I glue these together, I do scrape the chrome plating and the paint off of each part. Now let's put the rear suspension in, and we scrape a little paint off the attachment points. We'll put the glue on these posts. Okay. All right, front and rear suspension in. Set this aside, and next we're going to be working on that engine. 3 coats of paint on the engine. All right, let's move on to the interior. Already glued the steering wheel onto the dash, glued the seat together. So, about to forget the pedals, there they are. And then we need a gear shift. And it looks like it is chrome. First is a gear shift, glued in place. Now the pedals. Next we'll put in the 2 door panels and the front seat. And the dash. Finished up the engine, except for the chrome or the breather that goes on top. I've got to do some detailing on it. This outside part is black, and then there's a decal that goes on top, but the rest of the engine is together. Tires and wheels on, so now let's get the engine installed. And the breather goes right there. First, we got to do some touch up on the lower edge there. It should be black. Then we got a decal that goes on the top. And engine is finished. Have our decal on the air breather. Some touch up around the edge of it. So now we're ready to proceed to the next step. Next, we're going to attempt these decals on the hood and on the cowl area of the body. Here's what the hood should look like. And that hood scoop, I'm putting the one on that opens. So I have the decal on the sides of it. But it also gets this decal on the top. So we need to do that. Here's the hood decal here. The cowl decal is right here. That'll go on the body. I don't like these decals. They're on this super thick paper. It takes quite a while for them to release compared to other decals. But we're gonna do our best and try to get them on here without messing anything up. Usually just 15 or 20 seconds on the decal on these models that they're released, but this one takes longer than that. I decided to time this hood decal and see how long it takes to release. About 2.5 minutes. Well, that wasn't one of the easiest decals I've ever tried to put on, but we got it on there. It looks okay. Got the hood scoop put in. So I'm okay with the way that looks. Our other decal goes on the body, so let's get it over here and we'll see if we can put this one on. And then we have one here on the rear tail light panel, goes all the way across. Have the hood on so I can position this correctly in the water. Let's see if we can get it on here. Okay, that went on easier than I thought it would. Stripes look pretty straight. And even goes up around the windshield wiper arm in there. All right, no problems getting that one on. And there are marker light decals, red in the back and orange in the front. And this is a 440 emblem, and it goes on the hood, goes right in there by the side scoop. So we need to put them two on. Now we're going to attempt this side stripe. Got the Roadrunner that goes down to the center of that quarter panel scoop. And there are the two stripes. Using the board that I paint my bodies on. Set it here on the edge of the table where this body will be more stable. I'm hoping that'll make it easier to put this decal on. I have plenty of water underneath this. All right, I'm going to stop right there. Look straight. Leave it alone. And we'll go to the other side. Get the water out of our Q-tip. Get rid of the excess water. We're good with that one. 3 decals there to the right of the number 8. Those are the 2 door lock and trunk lock. All right, door lock, trunk lock, and driver's side door lock. One more decal that goes on the hood, and it's number 12 or 13. It just says you can either put Hemi or 440. I'm putting the 440. All right, got our 440 on there. I cut the bumpers off the parts tree and touched up the chrome there where they were attached. It's at the bottom, so you really don't see it anyway, but touched it up. Now we're going to put the license plates on front and back. Just a couple of steps I can do without putting the bumpers on the car first. It's easier for me to do it with the bumper off. This front bumper gets parking lights, turning signals, so we'll put them in. Interior put in. Clean it upside down until it dries, because there is a couple of glue points here at the back. Paint the Plymouth letters on the back. And put the tail lights in. Radiator core support and the radiator. Okay, our interior glue is dry. And I did want to show you that gear shifter. I painted the pistol grip on it brown, light brown. And there's the rest of the interior. And we've done some detailing here under the hood. And the overflow and the windshield washer bottles, we painted both of them white. Detailed the battery. Mounted the master cylinder. Front grille is in. Painted the door handles and the wiper arms. So we're ready to finish this up. We just need to make the body onto the frame, put the bumpers on, and we have rear view mirrors to go on. We have a good fit, so what I'm going to do is just put just a little spot of glue here right in the very front. This back will stay put because it's inside the rear quarter. That'll hold it in. Front bumper, and you'll notice I have painted the turn signal marker lights orange. Need to paint that core support on each side of that grille opening there. Needs to be black. And that looks better. This rear bumper, scraped off the chrome off the 2 pins and scraped the paint off the yellow. And we need to, when we put it in, we need to put it on top of the exhaust pipes and push it into place. And I think we used all of the chrome except for the other wheels and the center caps for those, and the 2 carburetor engine setup. And that completes the build on this 1970 Plymouth Roadrunner. We'll take a little closer look. I was really impressed with the quality of this kit. Parts were molded well, no major issues. The only thing I didn't care for was those decals. They were on that thick paper and took a while for them to release. They went on really well, so maybe they were a thicker material, but just the release time was the only issue. And what's our next build going to be? 57 Chrysler 300C. Thanks for watching. See you next time. We hope you've enjoyed the video. And if you did, how about giving us a like and subscribe to our channel? Thanks.